Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Thoughtful Conversations. I'm Alex, your host, and today we're exploring a fascinating question. Do men and women see marriage differently? For centuries, marriage has been viewed as a partnership between a man and a woman. But do they enter it with the same expectations? Do men and women have different reasons for getting married, staying married, or even avoiding marriage altogether? Joining me today to discuss this is Dr. Jessica Moore, a relationship psychologist who has spent years studying gender dynamics in marriage. Welcome to the show, Jessica.
Hi, Alex. I'm excited about this conversation because, yes, men and women often do see marriage differently, but the reasons might surprise you.
Let's start with why people get married in the first place. Do men and women usually have different motivations?
Yes, studies suggest that men and women often approach marriage with slightly different expectations. For example, men, more likely to see marriage as a source of stability, companionship, and social status. Women often view marriage as emotional security, a foundation for family, and a deeper partnership.
So men might see marriage as a practical decision, while women focus more on the emotional aspect?
That's a common stereotype, but it's not always true. The lines are becoming more blurred as gender roles shift in modern society.
Let's talk about social pressure. Do men and women feel different kinds of pressure when it comes to marriage?
Absolutely. Women often feel pressure to get married by a certain age, especially if they want children. Meanwhile, men are sometimes expected to settle down once they reach financial stability.
So, women might feel like there's a ticking biological clock, while men feel pressure to be financially ready first.
Exactly. And this can create tension in relationships when partners are at different life stages.
Once people are married, do men and women experience it differently?
Yes, research shows that marriage can have different effects on men and women. Men, statistically, married men tend to live longer, earn more, and report higher overall happiness. Women, while marriage can provide emotional fulfillment, studies suggest that women sometimes take on more household and emotional labor, which can lead to stress.
That's interesting. So, marriage seems to benefit men in very tangible ways, while women might feel more of the burden.
That's one way to look at it. However, when both partners share responsibilities equally, both men and women can thrive in marriage.
What about divorce? Do men and women handle it differently?
Yes, research shows that women more likely to initiate divorce. In fact, about 70% of divorces are filed by women. Men often struggle more emotionally after divorce, especially if they lose daily access to their children.
Why do women initiate divorce more often?
Many women leave when they feel emotionally unfulfilled or overburdened in the marriage. Men, on the other hand, often don't see the problems coming until it's too late.
Do men and women prioritize different traits when choosing a spouse?
There are some traditional patterns. Men historically value physical attraction, loyalty, and emotional support. Women more likely to prioritize emotional intelligence, ambition, and stability.
But are these patterns changing?
Definitely. Modern relationships are shifting toward mutual emotional support rather than outdated gender roles.
Do you think the way men and women view marriage is changing?
Yes, traditional gender roles are evolving. More women are prioritizing careers before marriage, and more men are embracing emotional openness in relationships.
So in the future, we might not see as many differences between how men and women approach marriage.
That's the trend. The more relationships become about equal partnership, the less gender differences will matter.
All right, Jessica, before we wrap up, what's the key takeaway about how men and women see marriage?
Men and women may enter marriage with different expectations, but successful relationships are built on communication and shared values. The key is understanding your partner's perspective.
That's great advice. To our listeners, do you think men and women still see marriage differently, or are we moving toward a more equal approach? Let us know in the comments or on social media.
Thanks for having me, Alex. This was a great discussion.
Thanks for joining, Jessica, and thank you to everyone for tuning in. See you next time for another thought-provoking conversation. Goodbye.